It's Labor Day and we're here. Why are we here? We take federal holidays off. We're here because we're trading Labor Day for an entire week off next week. We will be off all of next week, much needed for the staff, and then back with you for the debates and through the election. But good thing we're here today because one of the biggest stories of the last couple of months in terms of its possible impact on the presidential election broke over the weekend, which has now been quadruply corroborated despite Donald Trump claiming it is all fake. This is a story in which The Atlantic broke a story claiming that officials who were on a trip with Trump to France say that Trump called troops who died losers and suckers. And it is a hugely instructive story from the perspective of the evolution of damage control, because the initial story was just in The Atlantic and it talked about Donald Trump repeatedly disparaging the intelligence of service members, saying keep wounded service members out of military parades. It wouldn't look good. And it even goes on to say that, I don't know if you remember that incident in 2018 where Donald Trump decided while in France not to go and honor the troops at a cemetery near Paris, that it was because of rain. And these individuals who have come forward said it had nothing to do with rain. Trump was worried his hair would look bad if it got wet. And he didn't think it was important, again, to honor those who were losers and suckers. Quoting Trump as saying, "Why should I go to that cemetery? It's filled with losers." Trump also, during that trip, referred to a conversation during a conversation referred to more than 1,800 Marines who lost their lives at Bella Wood as suckers for getting killed. Now, Donald Trump came out and said it's all fake. Trump administration officials came out and said it's all lies. Except then the Associated Press corroborated it. Senior defense official with firsthand knowledge of events and a senior U.S. Marine Corps officer said to the Associated Press, the report in The Atlantic is correct. White House continued to insist it's fake and it's phony. And then CNN triply corroborated it. Donald Trump referred to fallen U.S. service members in crude and derogatory terms during that trip in November of 2018 to France. And then they said it's all fake. And then Fox News quadruply corroborated it. Take a look at this. This is Fox News now.
John, I've spoken with two senior U.S. officials who were on the trip to France who confirmed to me key details in the Atlantic article and the quotes attributed to the president. My source, a former Trump administration official, told me when the president spoke about the Vietnam War, he said it was a stupid war. Anyone who went was a sucker. The president would say about American veterans, what's in it for them? They don't make any money. The source said it was a character flaw of the president. He could not understand why someone would die for their country. Not worth it. Regarding the French trip to mark the end of World War I, according to this former official, the president was not in a good mood. French President Macron had said something that made him mad. He questioned why he had to go to two cemeteries. Why do I have to do two? His staff explained he could cancel, but he was warned, they, the press, are going to kill you for this. The president was mad as a hornet when they did, according to this source. When asked if the president could have driven to the Aisne-Marne cemetery, this former official said confidently that there was not a security reason not to drive to the cemetery, which was about 40 miles from Paris. Quote, the president drives a lot. The other world leaders drove to the cemeteries. He just didn't want to go. Regarding the president's July 4th military parade planning, during a planning session at the White House after seeing the Bastille Day parade in 2017, President Trump said regarding the inclusion of wounded guys, quote, that's not a good look. Americans don't like that. Regarding Senator McCain, the president, according to this source, just hated John McCain. He always asked, why do you see him as a hero? Two sources confirmed the president did not want the flags lowered after McCain died, but others in the White House ordered them at half-mast. There was a standoff, and then the president relented.
That is Fox News corroborating and expanding the story. It's even worse than initially reported, actually, based on Fox News's additional reporting. I'm starting to think the story may be true. And of course, it tracks completely with Donald Trump's brand and a lot of this stuff he came close to saying in public, including about John McCain, the late Republican Senator John McCain, who had been captured and held as a prisoner of war. Donald Trump saying he prefers soldiers who don't get captured, and even tweeted about it. I'll tell you about that in a moment. The internal chaos that this caused at Fox News, fascinating, because you had at one point within hours the opinion people saying this is all fake, and the news side saying we've been able to independently confirm these reports. And Trump fundamentally is not able to understand the concept of someone doing something that's not completely self-centered and greedy. He has an inability to do that. And, you know, when this story broke, you had some people on the left saying, Trump is right, these people are suckers. Who the hell would join the military? I do think it's important to distinguish between supporting the troops and supporting individual wars and what the military does. I recognize, for example, that when George W. Bush took us into the harebrained, misguided Iraq war, we didn't have a draft in which I could have been drafted potentially, because we have a volunteer army and people actually volunteer. Now, we often send them to the wrong wars. We use the troops in disgusting ways for political battles, the way George W. Bush did. But nevertheless, I don't think it makes sense to denigrate the individuals as the suckers. We have a military industrial complex that is the problem. We have a deranged foreign policy apparatus. And, you know, if you do believe that those who go and fight are suckers, tone down the military apparatus. Trump has done the opposite. Trump simultaneously brags about making the military bigger than ever, but then says that the individual troops are suckers and losers when they actually go and get killed. And why is that? It's because Trump doesn't care about the individuals in the military, but Trump is glad to use the military as an institution for his benefit when he can. It's very much on brand, in fact. Could this be Trump's 47% moment, thinking back to Mitt Romney in the 2012 campaign? It's possible. This, you know, a lot of these things that happen don't directly relate. They don't directly affect constituencies that Trump needs. If this is a case where, if you look at Florida and the heavy military presence in Florida, and Florida being an important battleground state where it could determine, it certainly is much more likely than Massachusetts or California to determine the winner of the presidential election. Disparaging the troops in this way, to the extent that people will believe it, could actually make a difference. And again, anybody doubting it, it's been quadruply corroborated. It tracks with things Donald Trump has said publicly. Remember, John McCain, not a war hero because he was captured, attacking Gold Star family, the Khan family. This is only half a step further than what Trump has done publicly. And in fact, Donald Trump once did retweet that McCain is a loser. Trump retweeting in 2015 an article from Fitz News. Donald Trump, John McCain is a loser. Now, the perspective there was the election of 2008, but Trump very critical of McCain, including for having been captured. And by the way, this is maybe the most interesting thing Pete Buttigieg has done. He was interviewed on Fox News about this story, and he used Fox News' own confirmation of the story while on Fox News against them. Take a look at this.
Again, I'm looking at the internet right now. Fox News itself has confirmed many of the details of this story. So
the real question is not, to me, did Trump do this? It seems almost certain that he did. The question is, number one, what else is going to come out between now and November? Because The Atlantic is saying there will be much more, that this is only the tip of the iceberg. And number two, will this affect Trump with constituencies he needs, like the military? I believe that it could. I want to hear from you. I'm on Twitter at @DPakman. Let me know what you think could be the impact of this story. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.